This is Advanced English Synonyms Test Tutorial Number 1.
Welcome back to Eastland English. I'm Yudee.
And I'm Robert. The more words you have at your command, the better you can express yourself. This can make a critical difference when communicating and even tip the scales in your favor with regard to scoring well on an English proficiency test. What are synonyms, Yudee?
Synonyms are words that have the same or similar meaning. The meaning may differ depending on the context.
In this tutorial, we share 10 sentences with an advanced vocabulary word underlined.
You will see 4 choices of words, one of which is a synonym.
After that, we will highlight the key vocabulary in the sentences and provide background knowledge to help you.
Directions. Choose the best option to complete each sentence.
We strongly recommend that you make your choice before we give you any clues or the correct answer. Getting something wrong in a practice test can be advantageous. It will help you remember during the real test. Number 1.
The facility on this campus is famous for the cultivation of many local species that are not studied intensively elsewhere. A.
Publication.
B.
Growth.
C.
Research.
D.
Coordination. In this sentence, we need a synonym for the word cultivation.
Facility is an area or building made for a specific purpose.
Species is a biological type or kind. Intensively means deeply or thoroughly. The keyword species allows us to eliminate coordination. Coordination is used for ideas or people, and people are only one type of species. We cannot publish a species. Therefore, publication won't work. On the other hand, according to the context of this sentence, B or C could be used. However, research is not a synonym for cultivation. Instead, growth is the best answer. Let's hear the sentence with the synonym replaced.
The facility on this campus is famous for the growth of many local species that are not studied intensively elsewhere. Number 2.
That is such an absurd premise. I had nothing to do with that event. A.
Reasonable.
B.
Biased.
C.
Ridiculous.
D.
Commonplace.
Premise is an idea that forms the basis for an argument. Had nothing to do with equals a disavowal. A disavowal is when someone refuses to accept responsibility or part of anything else. In this case, the subject was not responsible for the object or had no hand in it, did not affect it in any way. Clearly, he is being blamed for something. His disavowal says he should not be blamed. We're going to look at the root word for A, reason.
Reason means logic.
Due to that, if it were a logical premise, he wouldn't disavow it. Now the root word in D, common.
Common is like usual.
And commonplace means the same thing. Once again, in number 2, we're left with the same quandary we had in number 1, and that is, considering the context, either of these words could be used. However, biased is not a synonym for absurd. Ridiculous is a perfect synonym.
Let's hear the sentence with the synonym.
That is such a ridiculous premise. I had nothing to do with that event.
Number 3.
In the past, door-to-door salesmen were trained to introduce themselves while simultaneously jamming a foot in the cracked open door of the target customer. A.
Concurrently.
B.
Conceptually.
C.
Continually.
D.
Consecutively.
Door-to-door salesmen are likely a thing of the past. They used to knock on your door or ring your doorbell and try to sell you something directly. However, nowadays, considering the pandemic, we're likely to see fewer and fewer of these. especially because most items are available to purchase on the internet. Jamming is the action of forcing something into something else. Conceptually is with regard to ideas, and an action is something that happens. Continually is another way of saying without stopping, but the action is a relatively short action. You can't do it continually. Once again, we're left with two possible choices. To solve this one, we need a time clue. The time clue while. While means at the same time as, and consecutively is the same as saying one after another. Concurrently is the best choice. This habit or practice of door-to-door salesmen is the probable origin of a common business idiom.
The idiom, a foot in the door, means a start towards achieving a specific goal. Sentence number 3 with the synonym is:
In the past, door-to-door salesmen were trained to introduce themselves while concurrently jamming a foot in the cracked open door of the target customer. Number 4.
Due to the planned construction of the new road, those dwellings must be removed. A.
Forests.
B.
Railways.
C.
Pylons.
D.
Homes. We have only one key word for you here, and that is the word removed. This word should already have been learned by you, so there's nothing new here except for the word dwellings. If we look at the 4 options, all of them could be used. However, it's difficult to remove an entire forest. Also, we would probably use the phrasal verb cut down. Similarly, it's difficult to remove an entire railway. If you use the word railways, we'd probably say this section of the railway. Both options C and D could be used perfectly in context here. Pylons are often removed during construction. Pylons means 2 different things. They are the towers that hold up electrical wires, or another common meaning is the little orange cones. However, pylons is not a synonym for the word dwellings. Homes is the best choice. Number 4 should be:
Due to the planned construction of the new road, those homes must be removed.
Number 5.
The marketing team had to confer with the company's legal department before they started their campaign. A.
Consult.
B.
Contact.
C.
Dictate.
D.
Delegate. A legal department is the team of lawyers in a given company. They deal with issues the company faces regarding the law. A campaign is a series of activities with a specific purpose in mind. Our final clue is the preposition with. This preposition implies that confer is an intransitive verb. That means it cannot take a direct object. Dictate is saying something to someone else. A boss might dictate a letter to his secretary. The secretary would then type out that letter. Delegate means to put someone else in charge of something. Although it might work contextually here, it does not work with this grammar. Similarly, contact is a word that could be used without the word with. It is a very close synonym. On the other hand, contact is a transitive verb that would require the direct object, the company's legal department. You can't put the word with between them. Consult is the best answer. Here is number 5 with the synonym replaced.
The marketing team had to consult with the company's legal department before they started their campaign.
Now we're halfway through.
Number 6.
After having invested heavily in this venture, I am pleased to report that our collaboration has been fruitful. A.
Necessary.
B.
Complete.
C.
Productive.
D.
Careful. Invested heavily is another way of saying put a lot of money.
A venture is a risky business project, usually something like a startup. Collaboration is teamwork, people working together. All of these adjectives work contextually, yet the grammar can help us eliminate one of them. Here we're using the present perfect tense. If we wanted to use complete in this sentence as an adjective, we wouldn't use the present perfect. We would use the present simple, is complete. Using present perfect, we would use the past participle or verb 3 of complete, which would be completed. All three of the other options work, however, only one of them is a synonym for fruitful. Productive is the best choice.
Here's number 6 with the synonym.
After having invested heavily in this venture, I am pleased to report that our collaboration has been productive. Number 7.
The chronically ill have been a strain on the healthcare system ever since the government decided to fully subsidize medical expenses. A.
Disagreeably.
B.
Unreasonably.
C.
Persistently.
D.
Momentarily. When we see the with an adjective, it usually means a group of people. For example, the poor, the rich, the homeless. Although it is a noun phrase, because the last word is an adjective, we use an adverb before it.
Strain is undue pressure or stress.
Fully subsidize is the same thing as paying for 100%. For question number 7, we're going to look at the root words again. In A, agree has to do with people or ideas meshing together. It's not a suitable adverb for ill. If you remember from number 2, reason is associated with logic. You can't be illogically sick. In D, the word moment means a brief period of time. Due to the logic of this sentence, someone who's sick for a brief period of time would not be a strain on the government. Persistently is the best choice. Now we'll model number 7 for you with the synonym replaced.
The persistently ill have been a strain on the healthcare system ever since the government decided to fully subsidize medical expenses. Number 8.
It is important not to treat others below you in the hierarchy with disdain, lest one day you find yourself below them. A.
Disbelief.
B.
Contempt.
C.
Ideation.
D.
Admiration.
Hierarchy is a system within a group or organization where some people are higher or more important than others. Lest is identical to just in case. We use this in a sentence to caution people. Ideation is the process of thinking and doesn't relate to the context of this sentence. Number 8 is a caution. In the first clause, you are above others. In the second clause, you are below others. If you treat people with admiration, that's the same thing as respect. I would say you would want to treat others with admiration. We're left with 2 that could both be used in this context. However, only one of them is a synonym for disdain, and that is the word contempt.
Let's hear number 8 with the synonym swapped.
It is important not to treat others below you in the hierarchy with contempt, lest one day you find yourself below them. Number 9.
The investors asked the directors to allocate more time to the analysis stage of the project. A.
Mention.
B.
Invent.
C.
Reciprocate.
D.
Devote. Our only keywords in 9 is the phrase more time. It is impossible to invent or create time. The word time in the sentence is uncountable. However, if you made it countable using a or the, you could mention a time or mention the time. But here, it's uncountable. Reciprocate is comparable to pay back in American English. However, it also means to feel the same way as, or to do the same thing as. Devote is the best option. Let's trade the synonyms and read it again.
The investors asked the directors to devote more time to the analysis stage of the project. Number 10.
The raw materials necessary for our product are not yet available. So we will have to suspend production until at least next year. A.
Defer.
B.
Continue.
C.
Allocate.
D.
Detain. Raw materials are components.
Specifically, they are the components necessary to make other things. For example, iron ore is needed to make steel. Therefore, iron ore is a raw material. Looking at the answers, collocate is not correct. If you want to know more about that word, please check out our video, English Collocations. Detain can only be used with people. It means to keep them against their will. If they've done something wrong, you detain someone. For example, if they have broken the law or broken rules. Both A and B would work grammatically because of the word until. But there's another clue that is critical. Not yet. That means at no time up till now. If you don't have the raw materials now, you cannot continue to make them. Defer is the synonym we're looking for.
Let's swap the synonyms.
The raw materials necessary for our product are not yet available, so we will have to defer production until at least next year. We appreciate that you have chosen to learn with Eastland English.
Please subscribe to our channel. Also leave a like and comment under our videos.
Don't forget to click the bell. Keep up to date with Eastland English.
See you next time.
See you around.
Bye-bye.
Bye.